You are.
Islam, everybody.
Islam.
Today we're going to have Dr. Rafiq present a little bit of information to y'all about health. He's got some herbs up here, some different things, and once he finishes speaking, we're going to set him up in the back. So in case you got any questions or look, can you do a couple of short consultations? Can you do a couple of short consultations?
Yes.
All right, we'll set him up in the back, and he'll do a couple of short consultations for y'all. We'll be trying to be no half hour. Now, while he's up here speaking, and while I'm up here speaking, or anyone else is up here speaking, before we had the second microphone, and everybody just running around passing the microphone, I got a microphone stand there. So if you got a question, just walk over to the mic, and then I'll get to you, or he'll get to you, or whoever will get to you as soon as they can. Dr. Rafiq's been my personal natural doctor for about 3 years now. About 3 years ago, probably a little more. And I was going to give y'all my personal testimony of what he did for me. I was in West Virginia about 2 years ago, and I was coming from dinner, me and my family. And I'm riding around in the truck, and my stomach is getting tight, and it's really painful. So I'm thinking I'll eat something bad. Maybe I got food poisoning or something like that. So my father-in-law said, "You want me to pull over?" So I'm like, "Yeah, pull over." So as I get out the truck, as soon as I go to take the first step, I just fell. Because the pain was that bad, right here on my side. It was that bad that I just fell. I took my hat off my head, laid it on the ground, and I curled up in the fetal position. And my father-in-law said, "You got a kidney stone." So we got up, went back to the hospital. They went to the MRI, the whole nine. They said, "Yeah, you got a kidney stone." They said it's 4 centimeters, and that's roughly about 2 inches. So we was looking at something about that big in my stomach trying to pass through my kidney and get down into my urinary tract. So they tried to give me some stuff. I said, "Look, you're wasting your time writing your script. I ain't taking any of this stuff." So she said, "You got somebody you want to see?" I said, "I do." I came out, it was about 10:30 at night. I called him up. He said, "You coming back?" He said, "When you coming back?" I said, "Tomorrow." Came back, went over there, he tested me. "Yeah, you got a kidney stone?" He said, "Take this." I don't know if he has any here today, but he gave me a herb called hydrangea. That's a plant. Just crush it down and dehydrate it, put it into the powder form. I took that for maybe about 6 or 7 weeks. And over the course of time, what that herb did was it started to break the stone down into tiny, tiny stones. So while I was breaking the stones down, as I'm going to the bathroom, as I'm urinating, they'll come out. And it got to the point where it broke it down so small from that 4 centimeters, and that roughly about 2 inches, maybe 2.5 inches, to me passing the stone and not even feeling it. I knew I passed it because the stream stopped and I heard it hit the water. From herbs, that big, to me not feeling it. All y'all have heard stories of terror, like, "Oh my God, I got a kidney stone and passed it, and oh my God," and people bleeding and scratching up their urinary tracts, the whole nine. I experienced none of that. I experienced none of that. Between me and my cousin, we've been to see Dr. Rafiq a host of times, my family, but I've sent probably 25 people to see him. And only one person that I know complained about his methods or didn't have any faith when he believed in what he did. We get people to call up from out of town. I got family in West Virginia and Virginia. They call up and he counsels them over the phone. And then we mail them what it is they need. Nobody's complaining. So, give them an ear, and let's welcome Dr. Rafiq Abdul.
All right, thank you, SetenRa. I'm going to put this up here. This is one of them.
No.
This is one of the therapies I use called hand testing, but we'll get back to that in a minute. Okay, I attended Trinity College of natural health. I finished in 2001. When I finished, there was no naturopathic hospitals here, no naturopathic clinics here, as it is today. So our last class was how to set up an office practice. They made sure we understood the concept that you cannot use any terminology relating to the medical field. We cannot use any words like hypertension, we use high blood pressure. Diabetes, we'll use blood sugar. Okay, now then I've taken a class at Temple with Brother Bey in etymology. And one of the words we had to look up was the word medicine. Now, medicine is a Latin word which means to heal. Most of the medical terms are Greek and Latin. So, I looked at what the medical field is doing. The medical field uses inorganic chemistry, pharmaceuticals. The body is from the earth, organic chemistry, it would never heal the body. So I further looked into the word medicine. Before the Latin and the Greek got it, is a word in Kemet. Egypt, Kemet being the name of Egypt before the Greeks called it Egypt. So in Kemet, the word that means medicine is ma. Medicine is about bringing a balance back to the body. Now the Kemites got the word from Sanskrit. Now the word in Sanskrit that means medicine is ma. No, in Sanskrit is Mother Earth. Now Mother Earth, organic chemistry, that's what heals the body. If you're using anything else, you're not going to bring about healing. Okay, now let's back up a little bit farther than that. God created the body for mankind. He gave mankind free will as to choose between good and evil. He also created the diet for mankind. Mankind, as we know it now, is maybe about 1 million years old. For 500,000 years, we did not eat meat. Now, the original diet of man is a fruitarian. Fruit cover every phases of the food pyramid. The food chart predates the food pyramid. The food pyramid is based on economics. They're sharing the wealth among the farmers, such as the dairy farmers got so much, the animal growers got so much, and the crop growers got so much. We were not at the table when that concept was being discussed. Okay, now we go back. Now the fruits covers, well, the chart is based on agriculture and the changing of the season. Now fruits cover every facet of the food pyramid. We have fruits that are simple carbohydrates, apples, oranges, pears. We have fruits that are complex carbohydrates, all your beans. Anything with a seed is a fruit. We have fruits that are fats, avocado, coconuts. And we have fruits that are proteins, your nuts. Fruits also cover the 5 tastes that you need a day to stay healthy. You need sweet, dates, figs. You need salty, celery. You need spicy, your peppers. You need sours, sour cherries. Fruits also covers the parts of dehydration. You have fruits that's high in moisture, like the coconut water. Watermelons. Watermelons nowadays, without the seeds, have been genetically engineered. That's not the one you want to eat. You want to eat any fruits with the seeds. And cucumbers, very high in moisture. For while we're on moisture, dehydration plays a big part in getting sick. So if you're not using a lot of fruits, you're dehydrated. Now, my first 250 consultations, I had instrument to check for dehydration. They were all dehydrated. Even today, everyone that I tested has been dehydrated. I was perplexed. I wanted to know, how can we become hydrated? So I set out on a fast, 7-day fast on apple juice and water. Each day I became more hydrated, but at the end of 7 days, I was not hydrated. So 6 months later, I did another fast, same fast, 7-day fast, apple juice and water. On the 6th day is when I became hydrated. 6 months later, I did another fast. This time I used all organic fruits and vegetables. On the 3rd day is when I became hydrated. So if you don't have fruits in your diet, particularly fruits that's high in moisture, like the ones I just mentioned, mangoes also another one, you're dehydrated. Dehydration plays a part of you getting sick. Okay, so now we want to get back to how can we know whether we're healthy or whether we're sick? You're going to get a chemical breakdown before you get a physical breakdown. How we determine that is with pH test strips. Are y'all familiar with pH test strips?
Yeah.
Okay. You take one of the strips, hold it on your tongue for about 3 seconds. And you match the strip up with a color. And this will determine whether you're dehydrated, and also determine whether your body is acid or alkaline. The body can heal only when it's alkaline. It can't heal when it's acid. But this is what the strip's supposed to do. Okay, one of the things that I find a lot of is pain. What would you do if you break a bone? You get a fracture, if you get a sprain. There's a way that you can eliminate that pain. We call it acupressure. Now, most people are familiar with acupuncture. Acupuncture is with needles. But acupressure is with your fingers and thumb. You have your needles wherever you go. Okay, now I'm going to walk you through a person with a broken bone. Well, if you can do it, that's great. But if you can't, then you can instruct somebody else as to what to do. To alleviate the pain, you go to the opposite side of the body. If you break a right leg, you go to the left leg. And you as soon as you break a bone, the nerve sends a message to the brain indicating that we have trauma. So, the brain sends out everything that it has. Osteoclasts, osteocytes, antibiotics, everything to reduce that inflammation and to deal with that pain. But if we create the same amount of pain on the opposite side of the body, the brain sends out double. It's going to different sites. One going to the left, one going to the right. So the one that goes to the part that's not broken, saying, well, there's no emergency here. We need to go to the other side. So what you're doing, you're getting a double dose of healing when you create this pressure on the opposite side of the body. So if it's the left, you go to the right. If it's lower, you go up. All organs or joints are in pairs. The pairs to the hand is your feet. To the wrist, your ankle. To your knees, your elbow. To your hip, your shoulders. So at those sites, you can alleviate pain if it's on the other side, whether it's up or down. Further, to alleviate pain, I brought some things with me. This, I'm going to start out with this. This is called a massage hammer. Massaging and reflexology was part of our culture. This had like bumps on one side, it's smooth on the other side. Matter of fact, if you do this daily, you eliminate a lot of pain, because pain starts out gradually, and you won't get into traumatic of pain. Just take it for a round bone, the other side. Massage hammer, places that you can't reach. Round bone, the knees, soft tissue, back of the leg. Okay, we have another one that alleviates pain. This is for, you got a frozen finger. You got a trigger thumb. This is called a rhino ball. We just call it a hard ball. It has like spikes sticking out. For a person who has a trigger finger, just squeeze it. Just keep squeezing it back and forth. Trigger thumb, keep squeezing it. Now for a frozen finger or a trigger thumb, you have to go deep. That's what the rhino ball does. For minor circulation, you get the rhino ball and a bigger one. Now for poor circulation, we use what is called a porcupine ball. This is soft, easy to squeeze. That alleviates a lot of pain.
That's what I'm talking about.
So another thing we want to talk about is high blood pressure. It seems to be devastating our community. Now, if you have high blood pressure or hypertension, you need to know what type do you have. If you know what type you have, it's easier to apply what you need to bring the body back in balance. I'm going to name a few symptoms with high blood pressure. Orthostatic high blood pressure or hypertension. You're sitting down or laying down for a while, half an hour. You go to stand up and you get dizzy, or you feel like you're going to faint. Now, the medical field classifies if your blood pressure drops more than 20 degrees, that's orthostatic blood pressure. Natural healing, we say if it drops more than 5 degrees, but if it drops 20 degrees, you can fall out, you can faint. You faint, you fall, hit your head, now you got trauma. But if it fluctuates 5 degrees, then that's orthostatic hypertension. Next, you have pulmonary hypertension. Pulmonary hypertension is shortness of breath. You walk a block, you walk a flight of steps, you get winded, you get palpitations. Pulmonary hypertension. For that, like that, a lot of times you will see people with that, their fingertips are blue or they're dark. Not enough oxygen into the body. Also, what we do with that, get more oxygen into the body, well, I want to demonstrate that. We're going to do, okay, now, allopath says that the skull don't move. We say that it do. There's jaggedy edges or sutures. They come, well, it's a gap between the two to get circulation in and out. But a lot of times when the facial muscles get real tight, these sutures will move in and they will interlock. When they interlock, that prevents the circulation from coming in. So, can I have a volunteer to demonstrate this? Okay, brother, come on front. Okay, we're going to use muscle testing to stimulate the circulation. You're going to hold one of your arms out like this. Okay, shoulder length. Okay. You want to press down on your arm. Okay, relax. You're going to go for it first. You want to press down on your arm while you resist. Then I'm going to check the brain. Then I'm going to do a brain adjustment, and then we're going to check the brain again. Okay? his arm? Okay, relax. Did y'all see his arm shake?
Yes.
Okay. On this side, y'all may not can see. Did y'all see it? Okay, great. Okay, now I'm going to walk you through a brain adjustment, and we're going to check your arm again. I'm going to let you do it, and I'm just going to instruct you. Now, I'm going to show y'all how to do it too. Now, adjusting these sutures, what we call a cranial adjustment, is done with deep breathing. You breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. That's a Tai Chi breath. When you're doing that, you circulate more energy. A yoga breath, you breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth. That's more relaxation. But we want to increase the energy. So we're going to breathe in through your nose and out through your nose. Now you're going to take your hands, put them on top of your head like this.
Like this.
On top, right? In or out. Okay. Now take a deep breath and just separate your fingers while you're doing the deep breathing. Okay. Now we're going to do the forebrain. Same thing. Put your hands here, close together. Right here. Deep breathe and separate it. Okay. Now we're going to do the back, the brain stem. And allow, deep breathe, separate. Okay, now we're going to check your arm. Hold up again. See if there's a difference. Use this. Use this. Use this. Use this. Can y'all see the difference? Can y'all see the difference? Y'all didn't see the difference?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you. So that's what we want to do. For pulmonary hypertension, you got to make sure. For pulmonary hypertension, you got to make sure you're getting more oxygen into the brain. Oxygen is the #1 nutrient that the body needs. We can only live 6 minutes without oxygen. Vital important. Okay. The next is, which I think most people have, is adrenal hypertension. Adrenal hypertension is coming from stress. The next is hypertension from allergies, food allergies. They don't even consider that. The next is hypertension they call the white coat syndrome. You see a doctor, and your blood pressure rises. It's real. Now, what would bring that back down to normal very quickly is getting more oxygen to the brain. You can do the brain adjustment and just keep on doing the breathing. That would bring it down. Okay, now let me see what else. Now, in balancing the body, we want to go back to the pH. Now, your body's supposed to be alkaline, 7.3. If it's acidic, the body is not going to heal. All diseases comes down to this common denominator. Okay, let me see here. Some of the things that we use to bring about more pH. You got to do two things well. You got to give nutrition to the body, and you got to get waste out. Matter of fact, while we're on pain, let me mention this. Pain, I want to go back a minute, is your body. Well, before I mention that, when a baby is hungry, what does it do? If the baby diaper is soiled, what does it do? Okay. Pain is your body, it's a dual factor here. Pain is your body crying for nutrition. The other component, pain, is your body crying to get rid of the waste. You got to cover those two factors to get rid of your pain. You're not going to get rid of the pain with drugs, pharmaceuticals. It only makes it worse. Now, what we have to get rid of pain are muscles, ligaments, and tendons. Use magnesium. Now, we have magnesium in capsules, we have magnesium in powders, and the best we get magnesium in the herb itself. comfrey is the #1 herb that's high in calcium and magnesium. That's what we use for pain relief. Now, for strengthening the bones and ligaments. Now, what deals with pain is cat's claw, marshmallow root, devil's claw, excellent for that. Cat's claw also good for that inflammation. So you got to do a nutritional supplement when you have it. Now, what they have done with our diet is unbelievable. We have a lot of genetically engineered food on the market, causing a lot of problems with our health. We want to get as natural as possible. That's the kind of food you want to eat. Okay, now back to the pH. Just like I described about pain, you need nutritional supplements, the same way with the body. To bring about any imbalance, you got to go back to nutrition. Got to go back to getting the waste out of the body. Okay, are there any questions thus far? Okay, let me see what else we're going to talk about. Okay, let me talk about this. This is one of the therapies that I do in the office, or I do it wherever I go. Hand testing. Okay, we have a machine. This machine right here. The brain is a control center of the body. The nerves come down the spinal cord, and they keep branching off so they get to your index finger. With this machine, we can touch these meridian points, and we can measure the energy in all your organs and glands. Now, the energy in your organs and glands are balanced, or homeostasis between 10 and 15 with this machine. If it's below 10, vitamin mineral deficiency, dehydration, or circulation. If it's above 15, inflammation, tumors, yeast, bacteria, fungus. Once we find an imbalance, then we use the herbal combination to bring the body back into balance. Now, the hand analysis will look at the right side of the body on the hand test, the left side of the body. If they are below 10 or above 15 on the left side and the right side, that means that organ is out of balance. That's called hand analysis. Kinesiology, what I just demonstrated with the brother was up here. But kinesiology is a Chinese system that tracks energy flowing through your body. To show you how this works, I want everybody to bring their hands as close as they can get them without touching. We measure the energy in the body. Okay, do you feel anything?
Yes.
Okay, what do you feel?
Heat.
Heat. Anybody feel anything else besides heat?
Pulsating.
Pulsating, okay. The heat is your energy. The pulsating is also your energy. Your energy is electromagnetic. Okay, you put your hands down now. The reason why you're able to feel it is that our hands are so close together, there's no place else for that energy to go. So it's bouncing back and forth. This is the energy that we use or track when we're doing kinesiology. Okay, so I want to demonstrate first I'm going to demonstrate the pH testing, I'm going to demonstrate kinesiology, and we're going to demonstrate hand testing. Give me a minute just to open this up. Okay, while I'm doing this, another thing we're going to talk about is, that way we can continue to move on. Okay, while we're waiting to get that open, we're going to demonstrate the hand testing. Okay, can I have a volunteer for hand testing? Who's the first one to raise his hand? Okay, no, sit there, we're gonna do it right while you're there. And what we're gonna do is have the person next to him is just going to look at the machine, and he's going to be my backup. Okay, you're gonna hold this in your right hand. You're gonna hold it firm but not tight. Okay. Can you see that zero? Okay. Now you're going to hold this for us. Okay. Now you have the left hand, palm facing up. But first, we're going to begin with we're going to do the heart. Now we're looking for between 10 and 15. Heart. Is that 24? Okay, lung. 25. Okay, stomach. 23. Okay, good. Okay, the heart was 24. The lungs was 25, and the stomach was 23. Okay, now, according to our system, we're looking between 10 and 15. Now, above 15 is inflammation. Now, above 20 is parasites. So we have a parasite issue here. Okay. Have you ever did a parasite cleanse? No. Okay, so we're going to recommend a parasite cleanse for him. Okay. Above 15, dehydration is on both sides. So you dehydrate, you're not getting enough water. And that was all three. So stomach, lungs, and heart. You need to get more water in, parasite formula, and you'll see a difference. Okay? All right. Now, we got over. Okay, now I'm going to demonstrate the pH testing. Okay, can I have a volunteer for this? Okay, we have a volunteer. So like the youth is on it today.
It's a good thing.
Now what we're going to do is we're just going to pull this out, pull it out straight, and just pull it out slow. Tear it off, get it off from here. Okay, you're going to hold half of it on top of your tongue for 3 seconds. Okay? No, just like that. And close your mouth. You got to give it a little weight. All right? Okay. All right, now I'm going to match the color of with a okay, that's a match. So you have that here. Yours is kind of on the blue side. Okay. He's on the blue side. And that's okay, he was on the blue side. And that's he was on the blue side. And that's 8.0. And you're supposed to be at 7.3. Okay, that's telling us, okay, now this is how the acidity works. What are you a vegetarian? Okay. Now, for a non-vegetarian, the normal range is going to be between 6.4 and 6.8. Let me ask you this question. Are you using any vitamin mineral supplements? Particularly a green formula? No. Okay. Now, when you are in the 5s, this range is from 5.5 8.0. So when you are in the 5, you're in a debilitating state. That means the body is breaking down. This is what we see with people with cancer, AIDS, anything that's debilitating. Okay, now from 6.0 is what we would see when a person had oxygen loss. Also, in the 5s and in the 6 is also, well, we'll get to it. When we see 2.0 and below, there is a vitamin and mineral loss, a bone loss. When you add 7, now for a non-vegetarian, their range is 6.4 to 6.8. So for vegetarian, their range is going to be 7.0 to 7.3. I've never seen, as I mentioned when I first started out, did 250 consultations. I've never seen a meat eater higher than 7, unless something else was wrong. Okay. All right. Okay. Now, to be for a person that eats meats, to be 7.0 and higher, you have to be using a green supplement. Spirulina, chlorella, something like that. Now, even for a vegetarian, if he's 7.6 and higher, that means the body is too alkaline. Now, we mentioned that in the 5, that the body is breaking down, the body is built in a debilitating state. But when you get above 7.6, that means the body is running too slow. That's also a debilitating state. When we see that, we see dehydration, mineral deficiencies, so we have to focus on that. Okay? Okay, now we demonstrated kinesiology. So these are some of the tools that we use to stay healthy. Are there any questions thus far? Okay, I'm going to mention some of the good products that I have here. We mentioned we need 2 things to stay healthy. I'm going to start out with a green formula. This green formula has 23 different herbs and food combinations in it. Everything in it is green, everything in it is alkaline. So this is one of the ones you want to consider. Now we need to get the waste out of the body. We have a phytotox. This eliminates all toxins. Heavy metal, plastic, mercury, lead, mucus, inorganic minerals, calcium deposits.
What is it made out of?
Okay, bentonite clay. Are you familiar with bentonite clay? It's made from volcanic ash. It has a negative attraction. Negative in the herbal field doesn't mean like negative in the political world. A negative vibration withdraws the positive vibration, which breaks the body down. So this will attract anything that is not organic in your body and pulls it out. So if you're doing those 2 things, you're going to stay healthy. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about vision training. See, a few people have glasses here. Well, any problem with the eyes is the liver and kidney that's getting weak. Your eye doctor, their specialist, they don't even consider it. Now, we do have some vision training. These are called pinhole glasses. And what these do, they cause you to see better without prescription glasses. The concept behind these, the pinholes, they take a larger frame breaks it down to a smaller frame, that increases the light that's going into the retina. The retina sharpens up and makes you see clearer. It takes 30 days to make that adjustment permanently, and gradually after that, your vision starts getting better. But if you have one eye that's worse than the other, or any organs that are impaired, if one organ or one eye is weaker, there's blockages in the body. So, got to work on getting the waste out.
Question.
Question?
Yes. What is the difference between glaucoma and cataracts?
Okay.
And how do you address each of those?
Okay.
And
Yeah, good question. The question was, what's the difference between glaucoma and cataracts, and how would you address it? Well, let's do glaucoma first. Glaucomas are from food allergies. They don't make that connection. So if you're not do you not do pulse testing? Do you know how to take your pulse?
yes.
Okay. Now, this is what I want you to do. You take your pulse before you go to bed at night. Your pulse should be between 60 and 84.
Within a minute.
Right, per minute. And we're going to set up a scenario at the same time. Now, let's say before you go to bed, your pulse is 70. Now, when you wake up in the morning, your pulse is 81. Now, your pulse is supposed to be between 60 and 84 to find an allergy. So 81 is below 84, so we would think it's not an allergy. But if it raised more than 10 increments, that's also an allergy. So we went from 70 to 81, that's 11 increments, that's also an allergy.
Food allergies.
Okay, we will get to the food allergies, but that would indicate an airborne allergy.
Oh.
Most airborne allergies are from food allergy first, that made your system hypersensitive to the airborne allergy. The most airborne allergy would be molds. You may have a leaky pipe somewhere in the house, or a roof may be leaking on some wood that's creating mold. Number one cause of airborne allergies. Now, the seasonal allergies are food allergy first. Now, this is how we're going to track food allergies. You're going to take your pulse before you eat. Let's start with breakfast. Say it's between 60 and 84. Then you're going to write down the foods you're eating, the beverages that you're using, say orange juice, and the condiments that you're using, salt, pepper, whatever. Then you're going to take your pulse 30 minutes, 60 minutes, 90 minutes. Fold them up, 5 by 3. That'll give you a pulse average. If you find your pulse raised higher than 84 or more than 10 increments, you want to eat each thing separately until you find that food. Once you find that food, you want to take it out of the diet for 6 months. Put it back in, pulse test it, does the same thing, you got to take it out from there. Now, what we have found out about allergies is a particular food that most people love, and they eat it too frequently. A lot of times, if you spread it out, your body's able to tolerate it. Some well-known allergies are wheat, corn. Now, both of these are foods that dates back to ancient times. But the wheat in this country, corn in this country, has been genetically engineered. You ever heard of celiac disease?
Yes.
You get it from wheat. Stop the wheat, celiac disease goes away. So, now, another airborne allergy could be the bed linen. They put fire retardant material in bed linen, curtains, and carpet. It may be one of those three, or maybe all three. Get to you in a minute. He's next, and then you. Oh,
I said I have a question about what you just said about that.
oh, it's, okay, go ahead.
So that's the reason why people wake up. 'Cause I notice I would wake up really hot and sweating. Because sometimes I would wake up feel like I'm swimming.
Okay.
Sweat. The fibers, these fibers are just, I can't breathe in them.
Okay. Now, if you're having a respiratory problem along with that, then that could be a factor. But if it's just the body's heating up, it could be other factors involved, such as the too much acidic foods. Or it could be an allergenic food that you have eaten. The body's trying to get rid of it. And the best way to get rid of it is heat the body up. Now, was your question related to this?
Yeah, when you was talking about the wheat,
Right.
you know anything about them tampering with the wheat?
Yeah, it's been genetically engineered now.
So talking about bread, wheat, and anything that's wheat product.
Anything has a wheat base that comes from the wheat, which has been genetically engineered. We don't want to eat that.
So how can you get foods that are wheat that's not been tampered with?
Well, you don't want to eat nothing from wheat. There's other grains out there that you can use, like spelt, oats, barley, rye. Well, I'm not sure about barley, but they were saying like if, well, for the wheat, let's keep that out. But I'm not sure about that one.
What about the kamut?
Kamut, that's another.
Okay.
There you go. Other grains that we can use. Okay. Now, once you find this, you'll see your glaucoma starts going away. Also with glaucoma, what we want to do is you got to work on your nutrition. Okay? Any other questions? Okay, let's see what our time is here.
What about cataracts?
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Cataracts. Now, cataracts is from accumulation of mucus in the eye. So you have to eliminate all the mucus-forming foods. But in the meantime, you want to do hot compresses. Put them on the eye for at least twice a day, 5 to 10 minutes at a time. Got to get back, as we mentioned from the beginning, got to get back to getting good nutrition and getting the waste out. The eyes also relates to the liver and kidneys. So we got to clean up the liver and the kidneys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Question?
Yeah, when you talk about the mucus, is cucumber good for eliminating mucus, like cucumber juice?
Right, cucumbers is excellent. Matter of fact, cucumbers is high in alkalinity. It's one of the highest on the planet. Cucumbers have an alkalinity of 31.5. It's way up there. So you can use cucumbers to get rid of mucus. You can use cucumber for high blood pressure, diabetes, arthritis. This is a combination that we put together. There's 3 cucumbers, 2 lemons, maybe a cup and a half of water. Put it in the blender, sweeten it with some agave. You got a good drink. But you have a healing drink. And this is how we want to bring about healing. We want your food to be your medicine.
Yes.
And the way you do that, just like with the glaucoma and the cataracts, we can use the herb arbright, make a tea. We can put what you can do, you make arbright, put some dandelion in it, good for the liver and kidneys, and some usually herbs is also good for the kidneys. Put those 3 herbs together, make a tea. You can drink the tea, or you can make, when you're doing some black rice or wild rice, instead of using the water, use your tea base. That way you're getting your food with your medicine. You can do that with any herb. Anything you use water with, you use the herb.
I just have one more question. When you go to the eye doctor,
Right.
they talk about pressure
Mm-hmm.
is what's causing the glaucoma.
Right. But see, what happened there is, pressure goes in on the force. It takes more to bring pressure out. So, there's not enough energy in the capillaries bring the fluid back out. So what we need to do is we need to get your circulation going. Okay?
Yeah.
I think our time is just about up. I'm going to be in the back, so if you have any follow-up questions, you can come back there and I'll answer your questions. We're going to be doing some hand testing back here. Come back and get a hand test. I want to thank Brother SetenRa for inviting me, and I hope to see y'all again.
Yes, sir. Right.
I want to thank Dr. Rafiq for the information he provided. But like I said, we'll be doing some testing and stuff in the back, so we'll check him out. Me myself, I've used a lot of these products. Bentonite clay, grain formula. He has a colon cleanse right here. How many people, just to show hands, how many people did a colon cleanse? That's not even half the room. That's not even half the room. People always talk about losing weight. I need to lose 10 pounds, I need to lose 5 pounds, I need to lose this, lose that. You can't lose it if you got all that packed weights. It's still sitting in your belly. This colon cleanse right here, give it to certain people and they say, oh man, it didn't work. They took it one time. They took it for one day. They said, oh man, it didn't work. It didn't work. I said, all right, take it for another 2 or 3 days. You figure you got 30-something years of stuff in your stomach. Take it for about 3 or 4 days, and you will know. It's going to start talking to you. It's going to start talking to you. The parasite formula, the colon cleanse, the green formula, I've used it all, the bentonite clay. But like I told y'all, I had that kidney stone. And everybody's heard stories of kidney stones. I experienced none of that trauma. So definitely go back and talk about it and go see him. We're going to move into the second part of the presentation. The 1724 Christian Black Codes. How many of y'all familiar with the Black Codes? (1724) Black Codes is a list of laws the Christian Church and the Franciscan Brotherhood put together. It's not dark. Yeah. They put together to keep you in control. We want to talk about how they got the slaves in control and how they use the 1724 Black Codes today to keep a leash on us. This book right here, Nationality and Birthrights, taken from the Moors, the Black Codes of 1724. That's a book put together by Tariq Bey. Lesson book number 2. All right, y'all, back to the 1724 Black Codes. 1724 Christian Black Codes and how they pertain to you. The book that you see on the screen, Nationality and Birthrights, taken from the Moors, the Black Codes of 1724, is lesson book number 2 that's written by Tariq Bey. As I said a minute ago, the 1724 Black Codes were a bunch of so-called laws put together by the Franciscan Brotherhood, meaning French priest, Dutch priest, and priest from England, all working for the Pope of Rome. I want y'all to remember, keep one thing in mind, that whether you're talking about French, Dutch, English, so-called American, whatever priests, whatever rabbis, whatever bishops, whoever you have that's a part of the clergy, imam, they're all working for the Pope of Rome. All. Don't get confused and say, oh, but they're Muslims. They're all working for the Pope of Rome. Their whole mission is to keep you blinded, to keep you dumbed down, and to keep you in mental slavery. Not physical slavery, because you're walking around, you don't have any chains on your hands or feet. Nobody in here has chains on their hands and feet. A lot of people got chains on the brain. They keep you in mental slavery. In total, there are 54 Black Codes, aka laws to govern you. Codes laws that were written by the Franciscan Brotherhood, the French clergy, and perpetuated by the states. They tell you that the church and the state are separate. The church is there, the state is there. One doesn't have anything to do with the affairs of the other. We're going to see if we can crack that code open today. It was never a secret that church and state were separate until the Christian black codes were cracked wide open. Fear. How many people have a fear of something, a fear of anything? Show of hands. Everybody's hand should be raised. Everybody's hand should be raised. We all have a fear of something. You might not want to tell nobody, but you got a fear of something. Whether it be water bugs, whether it be spiders, whether it be snakes. My biggest fear was always losing. That was my biggest fear coming up, losing. I learned to overcome that fear because sometimes a loss can be looked at as a learning experience. Everybody has a fear. Fear is a noun. It is the unpleasant feeling of anxiety and agitation caused by the presence of danger, evil, pain, etc. That's the definition out of the book. The fear we want to talk about is false education appearing real, which is something that we all have. From preschool up until now. Whether we have been going to church from a baby up until an adult, or whether we started going to church as an adult. We all got a false education that was appearing real. You got a question, Amy? Don't get confused about fear, and don't be ashamed of your fear. The only way to overcome fear is to stand up and look it in the eye and come back. I know it's easy for me to say because I'm talking for myself. Might not be so easy for everybody. Could be some training or some learning that you got coming up that you just don't want to face, that you just don't want to look in the eye and say, maybe this is not all that I thought it was. Young brother over there taking notes. This young brother right here, Anthony, I had him on stage with me about a month ago. He's 10 years old. And when he came in, he asked me, what are you going to be teaching today? So I said, I'm going to be talking about nationality, some civics, a little bit of law. And he said, all right, cool. So I asked him, I said, what's your nationality? And he sat there with a little puzzled look on his face. He's like, black. Bro, I can't hear you. He said, black. So I asked him where was black. I asked him what you taking. You take geography in school? When they take social studies, they don't call it geography anymore. I said, you seen what the globe looks like. You see the maps. You know where Europe and Africa and all these places are. I said, well, where's black? I said, ain't no place. I said, then how can you be black? This was all before class. So later on in the class, I asked his grandmother if she minded if I bring him on stage. So I sat him on stage with me. And we went through the whole process again, but just so everybody can see that if a 10-year-old child can grasp this concept and understand that he's not black, that black is an adjective that describes something. An adjective that describes something. I know that we all got bit by the same dog. Saying we was black. Same dog bit me, bit all the rest of y'all. And we ain't chasing him down yet, trying to figure out what the problem is. My man right here figured it out. Right there on stage. Asked him, he said something about African American. I said, well, where's African American? He said, there ain't no place called African American. A 10-year-old child grasps that concept. I have to move on. I'll come back to the stop for you. Fear is the master tool of the slave and war keepers and is used extensively in colonized societies. That image on the left is what they taught us dogs. You look up here, you got lake of fire, look like a volcano in the back over there, and one over there, and all these souls down there burning. How many of y'all been told about that image? Now, honestly, how many people were scared of that image? Well, the rest of y'all tell. I was scared of it. I was scared of it. Now, this image right here is used by who? Somebody talk to me. The church. All right, let's go to the other side of the screen. This image right here. I ain't gonna ask who been there. I don't put nobody out there. I ain't gonna ask who been there, but this is another image they use to scare us. Now, realistically talking, you should be scared to go there. And not scared because somebody's gonna do something to you, but just be scared because your way of life is about to be altered. Now somebody's gonna be telling you when to go there. Somebody's gonna be telling you when to wash your kids. Somebody's gonna be telling you, hey, you can't eat that, we don't like that. You might be starving. So you should be scared to go there. You shouldn't want to go. You shouldn't want to go. Now, who uses this?
Government.
The government, the state. Now, fear is the master tool that they use on the slave. Now, if one uses this and one uses that, what's the difference? The whole method of using jail and using hell in these two images is to do what to you?
Keep you in line.
Keep you in line, to keep control of you, to control you. Don't misunderstand because they tell you about fire and brimstone, and then they tell you over here about life in prison. That isn't any difference. It's no different because for somebody who's free, like all of us, just walking around and doing what you want, if they took us all and put us there tonight, that's fire and brimstone. That's nothing but hell on earth. That's nothing but hell on earth. While you live in fear, the colonial occupational government, and we want to make sure we always address it as such. Because when you say the colonial occupational government, you just invoke international law. Some people don't even realize that that's what you just did. You just invoke international law. Just by saying the colonial occupational government. While you live in fear, the colonial occupational government and church see to it that you never learn de jure law or de jure religion. How many people were religious? Church, mosque, temple, somewhere. Nobody. Y'all was a bunch of what they call heathens. Nobody went to church tonight. Well, you go to church and you basically want to hear the same thing from 5 years old until you die. They're going to regurgitate it. They're going to give it to you all kinds of ways, whether it's church, whether it's the masjid, whether it's whatever you want to know. They're going to regurgitate it. If you want to master the science of self, if you master the science of self, you will understand it is your religion and will not accept the dogma that is provided. Once you understand that all lawful governments emanate directly from the people they govern, you will be more than ready to combat the colonial occupational government whose only intent is to keep you enslaved. Now, somebody look into that last paragraph. Tell me what sticks out, what stands out. Not more. That's another word. People. Who said people? Why'd you say people? It's underlined. Why did I underline the capitalized people? Somebody speak up. It's not one.
It represents a proper now.
That's not one. Anybody else? Why I underline the P? The capital P? Exactly. The lowercase p, brother, represents the corporation. The capitalized P represents what? A national person. See, we gotta be cognizant of this stuff. They play word games. If that was a lowercase p, then that's talking about Negroes, colors, blacks, Puerto Ricans, Latinos, Hispanics, and everybody else. The capitalized P talks about national, the person that's in program persona. You want to be cognizant of that. Anytime you're looking at documents, anytime you write documents, you want to make sure that you stay on top of it. Because they won't stay on top of it. If you send a document and it's got some lowercase p's, then believe me, they say, we got him. They don't know what the hell he's talking about. If you are indigenous to this land, you should know the history of this land. If you don't know your history, you can't possibly have knowledge of self. One more show of hands, how many people know the history of this land? All right. I'm going back to the stage. This land collectively is called what? All of this up here, all the way down here. We're talking about the islands here, and islands down here. Collectively, this land is called what? America. South America, Central America, North America, and the adjoining islands. Now, technically, what is it? The Moorish Empire. This is the mighty Moroccan Empire. Morocco in the West. When people say America, they talk about this land that's right here. That's called the United States. But they just had the Olympics on TV a couple weeks ago. Did y'all see the United States Olympic team? Or did y'all see the American Olympic team? You see the United States, the US Olympic team. Now, we just agreed that all of this is America. But anytime somebody says something about somebody being American, they're talking about people from here. Well, why is that? Why is nobody else called an American? Why not the Brazilians? Why not Peru? Why not Chile? Why not Colombia? That's not why. He said because the country has fallen down and they're not called Americans. The reason is, if you called American and you were there, they called Mexican, they called Hondurans, they called people from Belize or Guatemalans or Brazilians. You only been called by your nation state. Your nation state. This room, collectively, we all have the same ideas, the same common interests, the same goals. That makes us a nation state. Us in this room. The people outside this room don't care about what we're talking about. They're not a part of this nation state. Now, the people in Brazil do what they do. Don't have nothing to do with the people in Mexico. They're two different nation states. But they're still Americans. They're still Moors. They take that away from you with the disassociation. I'm Brazilian. I'm Mexican. I'm Dominican. Now I got a question for you. Outside of Africa, the continent of Africa, what country has the most melanated people in the world? Outside of Africa?
South America, Brazil.
Brazil. There are more people in this land that look like us than it is here. Russia has Russians. There are more people in Brazil that look like everybody in this room than it is here. When you see Brazilians on TV, they got that real light skin and that stringy hair, but you go into the bush, and they got dark skin and nappy hair. I used to tease me about having nappy hair. My hair was easy. Now I just don't be brushing my hair just because I don't want to. I like it. These lands were originally called Northwest and Southwest of Mexico, and later called Northwest and Southwest Africa. Northwest and Southwest Africa were then called Northwest and Southwest Al-Morocco. Al-Morocco meaning descendants of Morocco. And finally, the Americas. America is the combination of a Mexican and African. You take the prefix of a Mexican being AME, and the suffix of African being RICA, and you put it together and you get America. Should we be calling ourselves Americans?
Yes.
Or should we call ourselves Moors? Because America is only a bastardized version of Amexem in Africa. Now, I'm not telling you don't call yourself American. I'm just pointing something out. Who exactly are the Americans? Somebody grab that mic over there for me. I got 3 people. I want to see who can get there first. So don't be knocking the kids over. All right, turn. You can leave it right there. Turn the mic on. Turn it on. You got it in your hand. Hold it in your hand. Turn turn it on. Can you read that definition of American up there? If you can't, walk in front of the screen.
Noah Webster's American Dictionary of English Language.
Read the whole definition. American. Read that.
Pertaining to American. A native of America originally applied to the Aboriginals or
But you need glasses on. I can't see. A Native American originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found by the Europeans, but now applied to the descendants of Europeans born in America. That dictionary is from 1828, Noah Webster. I read it a lot, I show it a lot, because we need to see it a lot. We need to understand it. American being a noun person, place, or thing. Black, adjective describes it. A native of America, originally applied to the Aboriginals or copper-colored races found here by the Europeans. Everybody in this room is copper. All of us. That means we are the Aboriginal and Indigenous Americans. It don't say nothing about no red man. It don't say nothing about no Mongoloids, no half-breeds, no nothing. It flat out say in that book who you are. Throughout Moroccan / American mothers, Mother Harriet Tubman, Mother SetenRa Bey. I put them pictures up there just so y'all can see them. Because when you read their names, when you look at their faces, even if you don't say their name out loud, just the mere fact that you said their name, you pay homage to them. We supposed to respect who? Speak up. Foremothers and forefathers. According to his storybooks, you are very ignorant people. Excuse me, you are very ignorant people. And when I say you, don't get it twisted that I'm just talking about y'all. I'm including myself. When I say you, when I say we, I'm talking about us as a whole. Not one person or not one individual, I'm talking about us as a whole. They said you could barely speak English. They said you could not read. You could do nothing right except work for Europeans. If you accept this fear, you will stay an ignorant person. What's fear again? Somebody tell me. False education of hearing rhythm, which is the sole purpose of the church and state's partnership. How many people disagree? Nobody. Good. What's the name of that ship?
Good ship Jesus?
Jesus. That's make all the ship?
Sir Anthony Hopkins ship.
Oh, it's the same Maria. The need for the
Columbus.
Some of that nonsense.
Pentatonic and they all of that.
To cover up and hide the truth of the national sovereign origin of the lands, the color codes were coined by the Dutch and Franciscan Brotherhood, two Roman Catholic orders. This was done to steal the land and the birthrights of the indigenous Moors. Through force and fear, people are in total belief, people are in total belief that they are black and white. Now, just by show of hands, how many people in here still say black and white? I don't condemn nobody for saying black and white. I don't say it. I say Moors, I say melanated people, I say indigenous people, I say Europeans, I'll say a Frenchman, I'll say a Dutchman, I'll say whoever. Because the only way to change your thinking, to change your doing, you gotta change your language. If I got a friend in Harlem, New York. I don't know if y'all heard of him, Fundishi Jehotiwas. A very, very, very excellent teacher, one of my spiritual teachers. The first day that we met him, somebody made a negative comment about themselves. So what he said was, he just said, and he didn't raise his voice. This guy, you never hear this guy's voice past just talking. He said in a real calm tone, he said, listen, your body is 75 to 80% water. He said, now water holds more memory than everything on the planet. So if you say I'm dumb, if you say I'm clumsy, if you say I'm fat, your body absorbs that. And then you believe it. And then you live it. So,
Peace. There's a doctor, Chinese doctor named Dr. Emoto, and he does this test. If you look it up on YouTube, he does this test, this water test. And he gets 3 glasses of water, put them in a jar, throw some rice in there. And he's telling you that water is a programmable computer. You can sit there, give one water hate, one water love, and one water money. If you do that thing consistently for like 30 days, you see the transformation of how water changes and stuff.
now, try it. It's a simple experiment. You can just take a little bit of water and talk to them. I've been doing something over the past year that I never thought that I would do. That's my mom's story. I teased my mom about it for years. Talk about she crossbreeding plants and making all kinds of stuff. Man, my mom got plants this big. You know what I'm saying? We had plants on the porch. And you know, they was dying, somebody was letting them die. So I just said, you know what? I'm gonna start taking care of these plants because somebody was letting them die. So the other day we was leaving the house at the same time. So as she was opening up the shades, I started massaging the plants and I talked to her. And she just stood there and looked at me like, because she never seen me do it before. But I've been doing it for almost a year now. Plants is crazy. One of them she had in the kitchen window. It was a stem and it was just a couple little leaves on it.
It's this big. Not that big, about that big.
But I had it grow. I never thought that I would actually be messing with no plants. I talked about my mom and my grandmother for years. You talking about talking to plants, living organisms. You talking about dealing with water, something that holds the most memory on a plant. So what's the difference in talking to yourself? Using positive affirmations. When you get up in the morning, no. I'm up. What am I gonna do? If you had trouble, then write some positive affirmations down. And then get up and read it. If you got to, post them around the house. And then when you walk around the house, you go up and you look on the wall like, I'm having a thing today. And then you keep on walking. Positive affirmations, because your body is majority water. And water holds more memory than anything on the planet. So that means your body is going to remember all of this stuff. Go back where the slide. Illegal immigration started in 1492.
What was crossed?
Cross?
Yeah.
Right, you mean hair and hair?
Yeah, hell of a shit.
Black too.
I didn't even see that. That's obviously a Christian cross. What else would it be on top of shit?
I don't know. But
Anything that about the cross on the top of the flag?
the cross.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that's a Christian cross. Flag that's on the top of the shit.
Yeah.
They had rules.
Unless you're seeing something that I'm not seeing.
They have little markers on the head. I've seen this before. I've seen this. They have
Context. Context. That's the earthquake.
Earthquake?
So remember, the first of the Germanic tribes, basis of their power was studying us. That's the earthquake. That's ours. And you got to keep in mind that the Franciscan Brotherhood, while their mission is to overthrow us and steal the land and program, at the same time, they're false submarines that take our place. So everything that we have is not, that our people meaning the iron being compressed on the bone.
On the screen, many of y'all who know Abdullah, who's the most you hear him speak about this guy a lot. Francois Bernard, born 1625 in France, is who gave the world race and color. It was him that came up with the black-white paradigm. And then he was later followed by Carl Linnaeus, born 1707. I'm thinking Linnaeus was Sweden, and Johann Friedrich Blumenbach, I think he was German, born in 1752. But these are the people who gave you black, white, red, brown, yellow, and all of that stuff. The race game. You got black, you got white, you got red, you got brown, you got yellow, Negro, colored, African American, Ethiopian. How is it that one group of people can have more than half of this list? We got this, and we got this. Sometimes some of us get called this, but this would apply to Asian people. This would apply to the so-called Indians. This would apply to the Europeans. How is it that we got all of that? Black, Negro, colored, African American, Ethiopian, and brown. And small. I mean, they call us all types of stuff, coons, jigs, niggas, but how do you want to put it? But when you talk about race, we got so many. What is it that they just had one? They just had one. We got 10, 20. That's to keep you disassociated. That's to keep you at odds. See, a lot of the older people down south, like my older uncles, my grandma, they use this word, color. Jesse Jackson gave us this sometime in the 80s. So we've been running with that. This, obviously back in 1625, over there, Negro came along during the slavery days. Ethiopian goes way back. But how is it that all of that is placed on one group of people? So,
everybody was known by a nationality. They were Irish, French, German, Dutch, whatever they were. And of course, I think we were all Hebrew, I'm not sure what that was. Nobody, I never heard anybody ask for our nationality, so we didn't hear. But everybody else had a nationality. And the Chinese, the Japanese, Korean, yellow, they were different people, and they didn't know they were different. I guess around the late 40s, early 50s, is when they started really started, that I'm aware, with the white and the black. And then after I started hearing people who were friends of mine, instead of calling themselves Puerto Rican or Mexican, they began to call themselves by whatever it was that the so-called master race had started calling them. That happened later. That happened later on. But it shows you how people adapt quickly to whatever they're told, and part of it is out of fear.
you see right here, I got a section. How many people know what a Hispanic is? What's a Hispanic? He said it's sort of like a Spanish person. A Hispanic is nothing. Hispanic is something they made up in the 70s to tell Spanish people that y'all different from them. Because before that, they was the Spanish-speaking most. Puerto Rico, Brazil, Argentina, Ecuador, Bolivia, they look like us. They look like us. I was over my aunt's house about a year ago. My aunt called me over to her house. She said, had some girl that was born in Jamaica. She said, I want you to explain this birth certificate stuff to her. So I started, cool. I'm sitting there explaining the birth certificate, and we going on with that. And somehow we got on the nationality. Oh my God. Somehow we got on nationality. So I asked her, what's your nationality? She said, Jamaican. I go. I said, well, what's my nationality? She said, black. I said, black? I said, where the hell is black? I know what Jamaica is, I've been there. Where the hell is black? She was like, I don't know, you're just black. I said, well, you, she was darker than me. I said, you darker than I am. Why you not black? She said, because I'm Jamaican. I said, well, what am I? You black. So I'm sitting there playing plumbed up. I'm sitting there scrambling. I don't understand. why are you Jamaican and I'm black? I said, me and you go walking down the street hand in hand. Walking down the street. Nobody's going to say, that's a Jamaican, that's a black. They say there's two black people. The disassociation. They got her thinking she's one thing and I'm something else. But in their eyes, we the same. Because in reality, we the same. In reality, we the same. Black, Negro, colored, African American, Ethiopian, whatever you want to call it. You more. You more. If you got melanin in your skin, you more. Black. This is one of the labels that many unconscious Moors proudly wear. And, you know, I understand the same old business, so I understand it. Black Power movement, and you know the whole nine, I got it. The Afros, the dashikis, the fist, I got it. But it wasn't because we knew that that's what we are, it's because that's what they told us that we were. That's what they told us that we were. All of us work with Europeans. Ask that European about their ancestry. See what they say, oh, I'm Dutch, I'm German, I'm Polish, and I'm Swedish, and I'm this, and I'm that. And you sitting around don't know who you are. I'm black. No land that's ours. No land, nowhere. While we wear these proudly, we pay no attention to the most important unwritten word, which is status. Now, I'm going to show y'all how important status is. When you was in school, it was one dude, he was like top dude in school. He had all the gear, he had all the chicks. He had a couple notes in his pocket. He was the man, right? And you wanted to be like him. Or the female, she was the prettiest girl in school. She had everybody chasing behind her. That's status. That's status. Never mind this right now. But that's status. Their status is up here. Your status is down here. You're trying to figure out how to get up here. Because you're tired of being down here. That's status. Right now, Negroes, colors, blacks, we down here. Conscious Moors. Stand up with your straight back. Man with your back straight. Status is extremely important. Somebody tell me what black status denotes in law. Yeah. What's the legal term? Civil little 1-2s. How many people have heard that term before? Show of hands. Write it down. It'll come up on the screen in a second. But civil little 1-2s. Who said no? It'll come up on the screen. That's my man right there. His name. Black, adjective, being of the color black, producing or reflecting comparatively little light and having no predominant hue. Now, somebody look at that and tell me what's the problem in that definition. What two words stick out to make you say, hold up, something ain't right? Not adjective. Look like. Not look like. Not color. Who said you? You. All right, I said two words. Hue is one. Predominant hue. What's hue? Somebody will talk. Having no predominant hue. All of your skin, that's hue. Your skin, that's hue. So if it's having predominantly no hue, how the hell are you going to call yourself black? Pertaining to the definition. Now that's the definition. That's the definition from the American Heritage Dictionary of the English language. Now if you look at black, and this is from Noah Webster's 1828, it says pale, wine, linen, to become pale, to turn white. I got the book right here. Whoever wants to read it, come get the book. I got the book sitting right here in my bag. Go get the book. It's in the bag. Black person. Now this is from the Black Star Dictionary. And this is, I wrote it verbatim. Black person. Occurring and Constitution and laws must be taken in its generic sense. What generic mean? Somebody come on, somebody talk to me. What's generic?
What they're saying.
Not reject. If it's taken in its generic sense, as contradistinguished from white. Now, when we was in school, we learned to look at system, we learned to look at it, and we learned to break it down and read the sentence, right? All right, I know it's been a couple years, I only been out of school a couple years, I ain't know. If it's taken in its generic sense, it's taken in its actual sense, its real sense. Contradistinguished from white. That's obvious, right? If it's black, then it's got to be. Look at these definitions. Tell me how any of these definitions apply to you. You ain't the pale face. Who they call the pale face? You can't turn white. You're not living. You up there having predominantly no hip. That don't apply to you. That applies to who? Did they change places? Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd? The race game was introduced as a distracting social argument. As long as we continue to discuss race, racism, civil rights, and equal justice, we will never think to question nationality. Not ever. Show of hands, how many people read this document before? Keep your hands up. I want to go over here and count. These are my Bibles. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That's about a third of the class. That's about a third of the class. How many people have been mentioned in their lifetime about their constitutional rights? Y'all been sleeping. Y'all been sleeping. People say my constitutional right. If anybody ever said something about the freedom of speech, if anybody ever said, people done said, I'm gonna plead the fifth and don't even know what the fifth is, but they just know what plead the fifth means, I don't have to say nothing. So at some point, you done made reference to some constitutional doctrine. At some point in your life. This document right here, the Constitution adopted by the United States of America. Why did I say adopted? It was given to them. It was given to them by you. If you haven't, read it. Just browse through it. Just take a peek at it. Extremely important. Let's be clear. The Constitution was preceded by what document? What document came before the Constitution? What's the law right here?
Treaty.
Which treaty? Treaty of Peace and Friendship. It shouldn't have took a minute to get the answer to that question. That means we got to look over some stuff. We got to do some study. The organic Constitution consists of what? How many articles? 7 articles, and what else? 10 Bill of Rights. So I asked him, what's the supreme law of this land? The treaty. When you read the Constitution, it'll tell you that every treaty, every document that precedes this Constitution was binding law. Okay. Right? Does it protect the rights of blacks? Why not? Artificial God, artificial people. Fact. The race, color, and freedom of creed, claims of justice, and the people using them have never been truly protected by the colonial state officials with constitutional law in the United States of America, or any province, or any territory under the U.S. corporate jurisdiction. But it does protect the rights of the people, right?
No.
Why you say no?
Small p.
I showed y'all this earlier. You see this you see the P there? What does this P denote?
Corporation.
corporation.
Oh, yeah.
I told y'all, I'm only using trickery because they're gonna use trickery. So if I do it now and you see it, when they do it, you got it. You got it. That's why I'm using trickery, because they're gonna use it against us. So we gotta be on top of it. Does the Constitution handicap people? The unconstitutional 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments would be the handicap. Remember, they are attached to the Bill of Rights, not the Constitution, or any visual law which makes it a negative law. What's positive law?
Jurisprudence. And the first factor, the 7 articles of the 10 Bill of Rights.
That's positive law. Anything derived from the 7 articles and the 10 Bill of Rights is law. Once you get to number 11, and you start going 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, you're talking negative law. You got to know the difference in positive law and negative law. The original 13th Amendment consists of 20 sections. If you look at it today, it will give you these two. Section 1 says, neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for a crime whereof the party shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States or any place subject to their jurisdiction. Now, I highlighted, except as a punishment for a crime where the party shall have been duly convicted. What does that apply to? Jail. Jail. You go to jail, then you are now legally, not lawfully, legally devastated. You're going to do as you're told, when you're told, and how you're told. Because they wrote it. Because they wrote it. Number 2 says, Congress shall have the power to enforce their article by appropriate legislation. Does anybody know what appropriate legislation means? If you see this attached to anything that they call law, appropriate legislation, that means that they are willing to enforce this by any means necessary. That's what appropriate legislation means, by any means necessary. They're going to get done what they got to get done. So you'll see this after a couple of years. Congress has the power to do this by appropriate legislation. That means they're going to put their foot on your neck and force you by threat, arrest, or coercion to do whatever it is they say. The original 13th Amendment, Section 12, says this: the trafficking of slaves in Africa is hereby forever prohibited on the pain of death, forfeiture of all rights and property of persons engaged therein, and the descendants of Africans shall not be citizens. How many of y'all descendants of Africans? Nobody raised their hand. Nobody descendant of Africans? Come back to this, I have to look at y'all face. I'm gonna look at y'all face because I want y'all to know mine. Now I'm gonna ask the question again. How many people here are descendants of Africans? Why you not a descendant of Africans? So you gave me 2 ways to look at it. She said there's 2 ways to look at it. Everybody originated in Africa, and Africans populated the world. But if I'm just asking her on the premise of the color of her skin, then she doesn't know. So since you gave me 2 scenarios, which one are you choosing? That's what I'm asking. You don't know? Okay. Anybody else not clear? How many people here went to Christian church here? How many people here know who Canaanites, Moabites, Hittites? You heard of those people before? Where do they come from? The Canaanites, Hittites, Moabites, the world. The world. So we are descendants of Africans. This land right here, I showed you on the slide earlier, was once called Northwest Africa. Africans populated the world. We are all descendants of Africans. Now, it wrote here that we could never be citizens of what? Of the U.S. corporation. You remember earlier I told y'all about nation state. The United States is its own nation state. United States corporation. It's a European occupation, colonial jurisdiction. You're not European, so you could never be what's called a U.S. citizen. What type of citizen would you be? Where's your parents? Who had a question? I saw somebody saying something. Go ahead. Why is section 12 of the original 13 not important? And why change it from 20 sections to 2? Go ahead. Go ahead, Ty. 14th Amendment, Section 1. All persons born or naturalized in the United States and subject to the jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States and of whatever state they reside in. All persons born and naturalized in the United States. How many of y'all naturalized? Huh? What I mean naturalized? In order to be naturalized, you have to be a foreign alien to a nation. So if she has her nation is called us, and I want to become part of us, I have to be naturalized. I can't be nationalized because my bloodline doesn't come from us, but I'm coming from we, and I want to be a part of us, so I have to be naturalized. Meaning I had to go through some paperwork and I had to agree to be a part of her situation. I had to give up my nationality and be a part of her situation. You know what I'm saying? All right, so how many people are naturalized in this room? Okay. How many people are nationalized? How many people have actually declared their nationality? All right, so everybody whose name is not up is naturalized. Everybody whose name is not up is naturalized. I'll tell you what. When you were born, your mother got you a piece of paper called a birth certificate. Birth certificate made you a part of that corporation, turned you into a corporate state. And that's the naturalization process. Although it wasn't done purposely, she didn't know what she was doing. She was only knowing, like you said earlier, when she was taught. What her mother did, what her cousins and everybody did. So if you had not declared your nationality, then you are presently naturalized. Now, let's talk a little bit of contract law. Because birth certificate, where are the birth certificate is a contract? Let's talk some contract law. If a contract has what's called non-disclosure, it becomes birth certificate, non-disclosure. That's my mother sitting right there. They didn't tell my mother. I was going right across the street. Honestly. They didn't say to her, look, I'm going to take your son back. Put his name in all the letters. Turn him into a corporation. Then we can take his birth and we can put it in the market. We're going to get some money. That's cool with you. You know what's cool? They didn't do that. Did they? They tell you that? They don't do that. They won't do that. They're not going to say this that's not the school. So that contract is actually void. But if you never speak on it, then it's valid. It's valid. Am I losing anybody? Everybody with me? Fine.
It's referred to as tacit procuration.
Tacit procuration is what he said is referred to. You got a question? So. He said when Canadians come across the border, somebody told him this in school, when Canadians come across the border, they are considered as aliens. You know what Pepsi Cola, you know what Pepsi is? And you know what Coke is? So you know they're two different corporations, right? So Pepsi is Pepsi and Coke is Coke. Let's imagine Canada being Pepsi and the United States being Coke. You think the people from Pepsi can just go over in the Coke and sit down in the lunchroom and eat lunch and start working their machines and stuff like that? Why? Because they're two different corporations, right? Y'all get the point? Canada is a corporation. It's only the sister arm to the United States. Don't get it twisted. Don't think when you go to Canada that you're really somewhere different. You're still in America. But Canada is only the sister arm of the United States. They all report back to Sasquatch over there and there. They call them Pope. You clear? You understand why? All right, so when you go back to school, give them the Pepsi and Coke. Tell them, look at you like that. Don't do that. I always work with them, man. And anyone tell me why the 15th Amendment is unconstitutional? And let me point something out. I'm giving y'all all of this before I even touch the black votes for a reason. Because it's all going to tie in. And you're going to see that everything that's laid down, by the time I get done, I'm hoping that it's clear. I'm hoping that you see that church and state, they are the same people, because these are the 1724 Christian black votes. See, this 15th Amendment is part of what?
Charles Lance, it's a code system set up by the pastors for schismata.
Why is it negative law?
Because it's connected to the Bill of Rights. And in order for the Constitution to be changed, what needs to take place? Constitutional convention. If it's not a constitutional convention, then it needs to be an agreement by 2/3 of Congress, meaning 2/3 of the senators, 2/3 of the House of Representatives. Now, if the Congress adjourned Senate B, what was it, 1861?
Yeah.
This was done after that. Now, Congress adjourned Senate B in 1861. How did they get a 2/3 vote to pass this? They didn't. Now, somebody come up here. I want somebody to read this. You can't see it. Come on. Now, when he reads this, I want y'all to pay close attention, and then I want y'all to tell me why it's unconstitutional.
Can anyone tell me why the 15th Amendment is unconstitutional? The 15th Amendment, Section 1, the right of citizens of the United States to vote shall not be denied or abridged by the United States or by any state on account of race, creed, or color, or previous condition of servitude.
Somebody tell me why that's unconstitutional. There's a bunch of words in there that give it away. Somebody give me one of them at least. Come on, talk to me. Race, color. A constitution is to protect people of a nation. Race, creed, color don't speak to any nation. You got to be aware of this type of stuff. They wrote it, and they will use it against you if you're not aware of what it is. That's unconstitutional. Now, it's in the Constitution. Look it up. But it's unconstitutional. Y'all follow me? Am I losing anybody? All right, good. That's the United Nations. One on the left is in New York. One on the right is Geneva, Switzerland.
Wow.
All those flags. Now, I give any one of y'all whatever amount of cash y'all ask for, if y'all take me to New York and point out the black flag, the Negro flag, color flag. And I ain't say color, but I don't mean color with all the colors. That's not what I mean. I mean color. color or the African American flag. Whatever amount you can point out, I'll give it to you. You can point out one of those flags. Good luck. We can wait till they get warm too. I ain't gonna push you out there in the cold. You feel okay. I'm getting old and I'm old. I ain't no pace. Question for y'all. What book is the most read throughout the world? Bible. Most people who read the Bible, y'all think they read anything else?
No.
You think any of them might have read the Constitution? No. You think so? Well, you don't need to. You don't need to. Where does the sovereign power of Germany reside? No, I'm asking you a question. Germany, right? Where do they reside? In Germany. What race are they? Is what I meant to say. What race are they?
Humans. The nationality. They're human.
The race is human. There's only one race. That's the human race. Now, they technically call humankind. And they'll tell you that themselves. I put those up there. I got those out of the book. But I put those up there. The last one is not in the book. I added that myself. Where does the sovereign power of black reside?
Black or soft.
What race are they?
It's not a real race.
Neverland.
That's what you're talking about. They don't exist. They don't exist. To remove the name of one's nationality and replace it with the color removes the knowledge of one's origin and severely limits the sovereign power and or right to make laws to govern one's home or others' affairs. In a true government, who's the governing body?
People.
People. So if you don't know your nationality, if you don't know who you are, then you need somebody else to do it for you, which will be the colonial occupation. People who you think are government. The next time somebody calls you black, ask them what's their nationality. Don't allow anyone to play the race game on you, ever. Simple little 1, 2. There you go, Anthony. You can write it down. Simple death is the social state of a people or person who, though possessing natural life, and lost, been denied by force, duress, coercion, and slavery, the natural birthright power, self-help. In this political state, there exists no civil social law benefit which is supported or backed by the power of a national written constitution. No one in a state of civil death possesses any politically existing rights, immunities, or protections which must or may be respected by those in power in a society and themselves who are not civilly dead. That right there, I don't know how many words it is, but that paragraph says a whole lot. If you call yourself Negro, colored, and black, we already talked about earlier, you're civil little mortals. You are dead in the eyes of the law. See, just like I play games with y'all with the lowercase p and the uppercase p, you play games too. How many of y'all fill out an application for anything? And they say race and you check black. You shouldn't even be filling the application out. It's color. It's fraudulent. That's a color or not, flat out, because it got race on it. If it say race, then it should just say human. Simple. It'll say red, it'll say black, white, green, purple, Chinese, Asian, Pacific Islander, Hawaiian. It'll say all of that. When you're in the status of civil little mortals, you have no support backed by a national written constitution. No one in a state of civil death possesses any politically existing rights. So all the time earlier when I said, how many of y'all said my right to do this, my right to do that, you have no rights. You have no rights. It's not your fault because it was done. It's your fault if you don't change it. Only because you've been born, because you know that. So if you don't change it, then it's your fault. It didn't take long for me to understand that I wasn't black. It wasn't heartbreaking. You know, some people go through changes. Some people, they practically get ready to lose everything because they can't wrap their head around not being black anymore. The same thing happens to people when it comes to their so-called religious beliefs. When you find out stuff like Jesus never existed. I might be stepping on somebody's dreams, but I'm only going to give it to you the way it is. Most of y'all know me, I ain't beating around the bush. Some people can't cope with finding out that everything that they've been taught all their life is not true. So,
Yes, now you want to tell us Santa Claus ain't real.
Santa Claus ain't real? Listen, it should be a DVD back there from December 21st that I did in this building on winter solstice. So I beat up on baby Jesus. I beat up on Santa Claus. I beat up on Easter Bunny. I beat up on everybody. I showed you astrologically. I showed you astrologically where these things come from.
Gift requests don't count.
Now, who?
Those gift requests we present for you don't count.
No. So, listen, suppose this is the Bible, go back here, grab the DVD, and then when you look at it, come back here and prove me wrong. Come back here and prove me wrong. What and who is Shadow Prophet? Will be the defeated Moors who have been branded and labeled Negro, colored, black, Indian, etc. This is Article 22 of the Christian Black Voters. They say, we declare that slaves have no right to any kind of property, but all that they acquire, either by their own industry, or by the ability of others, or by other means or title, whatever shall be the full property of their masters. And the children of said slaves shall have no pretensions or claim thereto, either through testamentary, no positions, or donations into Leviathan, which dispositions and donations we declare null and void. And also whatever promise they may have entered into by persons incapable of disposing of anything and or participating to any contract. Now, first line saying we declare that slaves have no right to any kind of property, correct? How many people in here are classified as slaves? I ask again, how many people in here are nationalized? All right, if you ain't raising your hand, you declare as slaves. I'll tell you, well, as a matter of fact, I'm not going to tell you. I want one of y'all to tell me how this pertains to today. I want somebody to tell me how Article 22 of the 1724 State is relevant today on March 1st, 2014. Mortgages. What about the mortgages?
That they take out a trust on your estate, and you have to pay a fee for it.
So who's it belong to? You got the mortgage, so it's your house.
But you signed a dead pledge. That's what mortgage stands for, dead pledge.
Because I signed a dead pledge, that's what he means. So you're saying it's not mine?
No, it's not.
Oh.
Verse
1724 black. So,
contracts are dead, and the person who agrees to it is the pledge. And on mortgages, they're listed as a tenant, they're shared property.
how many people own a car? How many people got the title to their car? Thought you had. You have a certificate.
certificate.
If you have a certificate of title, then that means that the title is somewhere else. Let me show y'all something. Can't really see, but on the right, the deed to my house. Right on the left is a registration form for my motorcycle. You can't really see them that good. Up here, it's got my grandmother's name, it's got my name. It's got a deed up there. It's got the real estate agent who signed it. Over here, it got all the information pertinent to the motorcycle, the VIN number, license plate number, and all that stuff. That stuff belongs to the state. All this time I've been running around thinking it was mine. Oh, how can I be?
Nationalized.
Nationalize you.
That's the first step.
Put it in trust. Put it back.
Once you nationalize, then you have to create trust. Right now, a motorcycle goes to the state of Pennsylvania. I got their tag on it. That tag, this registration card right here, is their trust. I agree. I filled it out, I paid for it, and then I signed it. Put my autograph on it.
Wait, but that's not a contract, though.
Huh?
It's still not a contract.
What is it?
You gotta have two signatures.
Oh, so that means it's what? Remember we did the class on fraud? Y'all gotta think about all of this stuff. But now this pertains to the day, right? Now, just like Todd said, if I had opened this up and covered the inside, it got me listed as the lessor. So ain't no piece of my property. That's 2014. What we just looked at was 1724. That's almost 300 years.
It applies today.
The Christian black codes. The state.
Yup.
I want y'all to write that down yourself. The whole year of 1511, research that. Through Philip II, who later became the King of Spain. The Catholic Church, during the Age of Discovery, inaugurated a major effect to spread Christianity into the New World. Where's the New World? Right here.
Central, South Carolina.
And convert the Native Americans and other indigenous people. What other indigenous people?
Us.
I see. Now, I'm going to tell y'all to pay attention. They put the Native Americans and other indigenous people. Separation.
Yep.
To make you think that they are the Native Americans. But if you just think about it, they put other indigenous people. Indigenous people mean the original people of the land. You got to read, but you got to be able to break this stuff down. So if you got to write it back, you got to give it back. You give it back. Whoa. You put this. It's supposed to be that. Be clear. Be cognizant of all this stuff. The missionary effort was a major part of and a partial justification for the colonial efforts of Europe. European powers such as Spain, France, and Portugal. Christian missions to the indigenous peoples ran hand in hand with the colonial efforts of the Catholic nations. In the Americas and other colonies in Asia and Africa, most missions were run by religious orders such as the Augustinians, Franciscans, Jesuits, and Dominicans. To remove and steal the nationality, heritage, property, national titles, names of Moors. What are national titles of Moors? Somebody give it to me. That's Philip II, by the way. Put his picture. Somebody tell me what those pictures are. Missionaries. Now, look at the pictures. Not the monkey over there. I thought that was funny, so I put it in there. They said they came. So I had to put it up there. But look at the rest of the pictures. Who you see? Somebody speak up. Talk to me.
Marty White.
Or with who?
People of color. Indigenous people.
Hold on 1 second.
Original indigenous people.
This is my man Bilal right here. Don't put him on camera. This is my man Bilal right here. Now, what did you say?
People of color.
Now, you telling me I've been standing up here all this time talking to you for nothing? You saying people of color?
Indigenous.
Should have said it so long.
That's why I said I'm gonna put him on camera, because I don't want to see him when we get outside. So I'm standing up here all this time. So I listen. Y'all need to get this. Your language. My man Earl right here just said white people. I ain't black, I don't want to blast somebody, but I want y'all to think about this. Like my mom said black and white. Can I get on? No, I ain't gonna I don't want no joke. I don't want no joke. But I want y'all to see who they come and spread their nonsense to. One of my favorite teachers, named Dr. Ray Higgins, read a quote from somebody, and it said, the Europeans came to Africa with their Bible, and now we have their Bible and they have our land. Now, some people might say the Bible ain't theirs, the Bible ain't this, the Bible ain't that. The Bible the way it is today's days. Now, did they steal it? Is it plagiarized? Is it copied from the walls of Kemet? Yeah. But the Bible that you see today is theirs. So when somebody say they came into our land and left their Bible, it's true. Because they left their Bible. They didn't leave. You're not going to find nothing about a person with rock lying there. You ain't going to hear about none of that. You ain't going to hear about Patah. You're going to hear about Peter. This from that movie, Nicolas Cage. What's the name of that movie? I forgot. Season of the Witch.
That's what it's called?
Anybody seen Season of the Witch?
Yeah.
You seen it?
Yes.
All right. Now, Season of the Witch was a good movie.
Yes. Yes.
Season of the Witch was a good movie. That's Nicolas Cage right there. I forget the guy's name down here, but they were Christian mercenaries. Nicolas Cage and this guy under him were the two most fierce guys around. They slaughtered everybody. And in the middle of the battle, Nicolas Cage was in mid-swinging. We killed all these people for God. God wants to do it. He had a revelation in mid-swing. In order to convert people, they used force. They used threat. They used coercion. Christian missionaries are not today, right? Somebody talk to me. They just ain't knocking you in the head.
Are you saved?
They not knocking you in the head. The Christian missionaries are still out there. Hey, listen, how many of y'all here from some Jehovah's Witnesses people? How many people here from Jehovah's Witnesses people? Everybody should raise their hand. Y'all hide. I used to hide from them. I look. When I see them coming down the street, I open the door. Because I want them to knock on the door. So I decided to step and have a conversation with them. I want them to knock on the door. So they can say, hey son, can I give you something to read? Can I give you something to read? Or do you believe that Jesus died for your sins? Well, why not? And then it's on. And then it's on. They want to give me some advice. I want to give them some too. Christian missionaries. Let's make this cage for the horse. They look nice and peaceful, but at the bottom is what they came to do. They came to slaughter people. The Christian missionaries went into Ireland on orders of the Queen to weed out the snakes. Snakes being who? Moors. They wouldn't convert to Christianity. They wouldn't acquiesce. And they slaughtered them. And now every March 17th, they have a celebration. Celebrate your slaughter. Patrick, when he got back, was named Saint. Or after he died, whenever. So now you got St. Patrick's Day on March 17th to honor the slaughter of your ancestors in Ireland. So when March 17th comes around in a couple of weeks, think about that. When they walking up down the street partying and drinking, don't get it twisted, most of them don't know. They just think they celebrate a national holiday. St. Patrick's Day. If you were a king, ruler of a land, would you have allowed those crusades to take place in your land? You would only if you were a part of it. So if you're the king, if you're the ruler of the land, if you're the ruler of the state, this state, and you're part of it, then that means you're part of who? The church. Because that's who Christian missionaries out there work. I'm trying to get y'all to see that they work hand in hand back then, and they still do today. Church and state. It's coming to the day called the good old boys. When you talk about the Klan, daughters of the American Revolution, like so whoever, the guys that's out in the woods practicing the militias, they all part of the good old boy. Ordinance. And ordinance. difference in those two words? The I.
Yeah.
Ordinance for the state. An ordained rule called law, issued and enforced as the law by a state, municipality, city, corporate group, or other organized association, institution, or community claiming legal or lawful sovereign authority and self-government. Now, I got a couple words in that. Legal and lawful. That's the same thing, ain't it?
No.
What's the difference?
One is legal.
Speak up, I can't hear you.
One represents a corporation.
Legal is de facto. So you legally married, you legally this, legally that. It's de facto. Lawfully is your law. If it means the same thing, it wouldn't have two different words. But everybody thinks that it's the same thing. Legal and lawful, it's not. Ordinance means military weapons of all kinds. Cannons, guns, bullets, swords, military vehicles, viral warfare weapons, enemy birth control systems designed and used for killing, maiming, infecting, controlling, or destroying a rival enemy. What would the church have needed? Something like that.
Keep their library out of black buildings.
Who's going to carry it out? I ain't never seen a priest, a Catholic priest go into his little booth, get out of one suit, come out in the other suit, start cracking heads. So who he got to do it for?
The state.
Public officials work for. The state. The state, the church, they all the same people. They all the same people. Canon law and canon law. Church or state? That's gonna be a question. Yo. In state politics, the ordinance, see I got the capital, I mean the I, means ordinance. Rule by law. Ordinance is canon law, gun law, ordained by the Franciscan Brotherhood and enforced by the colonies, states. Remember, they rule by force of arms, not by any moral code. On the right side, canon law, church or state. In church politics, the word ordinance means canon, rules of law, ordained by the hierarchy of the Franciscan Brotherhood. The canon law is church law. What's the difference? Is there a difference? No. It's wordplay. Just like we've been talking about all day, it's wordplay. They're the same people, hand in hand. I put that in there, I like that. Church and state are twins. Who they call the devil? The devil is who? Nah. What group of people would you call the devil? Priesthood.
Priesthood. Value.
Medical devil. Article 1 of Black Books. Article 1 decrees the expulsion of the Jews from the God. By definition, a Jew is any person whose mother was a Jew, or any person who has gone through a formal process of conversion to Judaism. This means they are not Catholic or Christian. It says a Jew is any person whose mother was a Jew. Does that stand out there, y'all, for any reason?
J came into the language in the 1500s, and Jew is really in reference to the Yahweh, which is the Asiatic African, or also called Canaanites and Moors. And the Spanish Inquisition of the Church is the Inquisition against the Moors and the Jews, and the so-called Jews are these Asiatics and think they're black.
That's all true, but that's not what I was getting.
Also, keep in mind, Yahshua, who they translated or converted, not a translation, into Jesus during the Nicene Council of 325, was a Yahweh, who was called Jew, and so was his mother a Jew, and so so that means by descendancy, anyone who's a descendant of these people are considered Jews.
By descendancy. He did say by descendancy, right? Now, he just said, in the dissertation, he just said what I was thinking. A Jew is any person whose mother was a Jew. They got you thinking it's a patriarchal society. But even they know, because they wrote it, even they know that whatever your mother is what you need. We gotta be cognizant of all of this little, you know how we talk, we always say, man, they put it out in the movies, they put it out in the music. They wrote it. It's right there. A Jew is any person whose mother was a Jew. So that means if my mother's a Moor, that makes me what?
That means so,
If my mother's European, then that makes me what?
European.
Somebody say President Rafiq. Mothers, European as they go. It's where my mother's. Article 2. Make it imperative on masters to impart religious instruction to their slaves. And Article 3 says, permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. Who are the most religious people in the world? Somebody tells me. Moors, jumping around, shouting, screaming, hollering, praising Jesus, condemning people who don't. And people in the Christian church, they tougher than everybody. Because if you don't believe how they believe, they don't want nothing to do with you. They're not even willing to talk to you and find out. They just don't want nothing to do with you. But you got to understand what this says. It says make it imperative on masters to impart religious instruction to their slaves, and it permits the exercise of the Roman Catholic creed only. Every other mode of worship is prohibited. And we already know they'll kill for what they believe and what they want to defend. Now you see from 1724 how you got in a predicament you're in now. They even push it on you now because they tell you the United States is what kind of country?
Christian.
Christian. But the documents say that it's what? They say, that is Muslim. It's similar to Muslim law. I got your man JC down there. He said what's up, people who have become state boards and labeled Negro, colored, and black, etc., ordained, regulated, and censored in the church has its origins in the black codes. And I put revisit Articles 2 and 3, because 2 and 3 are very, very important. They say it's imperative. You don't have no choice but to make them Christian. You don't have no choice. Article 4, Negroes placed under the direction or supervision of any other person than a Catholic are liable to confiscation. How many of y'all got bosses that look like y'all? How many of y'all got bosses that look like y'all? Just one person. Who y'all under supervision of? Europeans, Catholics. And the funny thing is, they gave this nonsense to us and they don't even go by it. How many religious Europeans y'all know? How many times y'all hear religious Europeans talking about going to church and hold Jesus and hold them? They dumped it off on you and they went about their business. They started getting that via. Hey man, hey, Jesus is the best. Oh man, in his church. They gave it to you. Sundays and holy days are to be strictly observed. All Negroes found at work on these days are to be confiscated. I work on Sunday. I got my own track and track. And you know what people really be saying? Man, you work on Sunday? Yeah. You're supposed to be chilling on Sundays. 1724 black. Now see, let me. Anybody in there look like somebody, grandmother, uncle, somebody? Now, whoever. This boy looks exactly like his father. I knew his father made transition. But he looks like his father, right? So if he has his father's eyes, and his father's nose and mouth, probably got his father's bones and bones and stuff like that. Y'all think he got his father's thoughts, memories, feelings, disappointments, and like that? Somebody talk to him? No? Why not? You never heard nobody say, boy, you act just like your dad. Jeanette. So it don't stop at daddy. Great-granddaddy. Great-great-great-granddaddy. So if they beat the hell out of us working on Sundays back then, you don't think subconsciously you remember that? Somebody talk to me. Subconsciously. You know more than you know. You know more than you think you know. You just don't know you know. As soon as you start to open up though, you start to be like, yeah. And it's not that you just learned it, you already knew it, you just wasn't aware. How many times somebody says, hey man, you remember when we went in there and stole that loaf of bread? You'd be like, yeah, it's 32. I forgot all about that. But until somebody reminds you, then you remember going and taking a loaf of bread. I ain't do that. I ain't taking no bread. But the point that I'm making is, he can look like his daddy. He can feel like his daddy. If he can look like his grandfather, he can feel like him. It's all in there. So don't think that these 1724 black homes don't apply to today. They do. Ancient Moabites, Moors, were master scientists. Somebody tell me what a scientist is. Somebody that makes experiments? What's part of you? Anybody else? What's the scientist?
Someone who use the mind power of reasoning, sight, touch, smell, taste, hearing, intuition, insight, combine them to examine things within and outside of themselves, and to calculate and categorize the information that's acquired by the senses, and then analyze it logistically. That's science.
Everybody in this room is a scientist. On some level, you might not be doing chemistry experiments. But then, this is what I told y'all earlier. You gotta look at how this is written. This says scientist, and it's a code. And then it says astrologist, mathematician, etc. So don't think that a scientist is just somebody who will play with a little Bunsen burner and all that. No. Astrologers, architects, mathematicians, people who write songs. It's the science of the study of. The ancient Moabites, Moors were master scientists, astrologers, mathematicians, etc. We built civilizations, governments, and religious philosophy on the divine principles and laws found in nature herself. Anybody take issue with me saying nature herself? Anybody not understand why I say nature herself? Good. This is some of the stuff we've been responsible for. Years of strip, some old scientific stuff that I don't know what it is. Mathematics, astrology, and building. All of this stuff predates the Greeks coming out of the caves. But they told you that it was the Greeks that came up with astrology. They told you the Greeks came up with mathematics. They told you the Greeks came up with architecture. But all of this stuff predates the Greeks coming out of the caves. You're responsible for it. How you end up here? How you end up there? You got that group of them up there, they supervised by European Christian flag. You're doing his part, giving them religion. Well, look at these two pictures. These are mega churches. There's got to be at least 10,000 people in there, and maybe 10,000, maybe more. There's only 50 people in this room. It's only 50 people in this room that can spend. But there's over 10,000 in there, and that's every week. This is publicized. We talk.
No, what I mean is,
You're right. But the point that I'm making is we're stuck. And when we get there, we ain't willing to hear about nothing else. If you say to anybody, right here in this picture, with their hands up, and Jesus didn't exist, they'll probably cut your throat. They will probably literally try to cut your throat.
My grandfather was a preacher in 26, and he had a church like that. He was born like in 1904. They ain't had no tone, no advertising. They all went back to business.
Yeah, because
My father told me, don't put this around.
it's ingrained in us. It's ingrained in us. I mean, you see that it was written to give us this. Why we only see so-called black mega churches? I ain't never seen a European mega church. Not never. The only place you see Europeans gather is when they go to Rome and see Sasquatch. That's it. They gave you this. Why are there no mega churches? Y'all know, any of y'all ever heard of Kenneth Copeland before?
Yes.
Yeah. So y'all know who he is? Okay. No, Kenneth Copeland is like the top dog when it comes to churches, right? So you got what's called Kenneth Copeland Industries, which means that's a business, right? So go look up TD Jakes and see who TD Jakes works for. Kenneth Copeland. Go look up Prep Low Doctor. And why the hell did you go to the church? What's my name? Prep Low Doctor. Go see who he works with. Bishop Eddie Long. Go see who they work with. They work for Kenneth Copeland. They what you call prosperity preachers. All they talk about is how we can get small money. And they report back to him. And he's calm, he's chilling. They filling up buildings like every week. Yo, how many of y'all know how many people know what Madison Square Garden is? Today is Saturday. Right now, in Madison Square Garden, it's Creflo Dollar. Every Saturday, he has a room in the garden, rented out every Saturday. He has a $2 million condo in New York, Manhattan. And he flies up there on his private jet. On his private jet. The people in this congregation, they don't have private jets. Some of them probably don't even have cars. But they funnel in their fiat to them every week. If y'all think that that's not ingrained in us from way back in 1724, crazy. That's how it happened. It made it imperative on masters to impart religious instruction to their slaves. Converted to Christianity. Conquering Christian Europeans of the Western Hemisphere involved in brain, torture, maim, hamstring, or even kill indigenous Moors who refused to convert. All of these methods reduced the selling prices for said slaves, so another method was introduced. Now you see I highlighted and I underlined hamstring. Does anybody know what that procedure is? That's what I thought it was. That's what I thought it was. Yeah. I thought hamstring, because they talk about hamstring horses and things like that. So I thought hamstring was when they take all the limbs and they tie them up, and then they take another horse, take a horse, smack him on his butt, and then the horse take off. But that's not it. Turn around. Turn around. So if I was the so-called master, and I was going to hamstring my knee, I would take a blade. I would take a blade and cut his hamstring.
Wow. Really, literally makes sense.
I didn't know what it was. I looked it up. I would take a blade and cut his hand. He ain't never going nowhere else again. He ain't going nowhere again. Which didn't make sense because now he can't work for me anymore. So another method of branding and all of that good stuff was introduced. New form of branding. Dutch devised a plan to brand wars without destroying their property physically. They were finally removing noble titles of enslaved Moors and replaced them with brands of Negro, color, black, etc. These brands only leave mental scars. Now the mental scar is you not knowing your nationality. That's the mental stuff. You don't even know you're wearing it. You don't even know you're wearing it. They got you believing that you're something that don't exist. Excerpts from what Willie mentioned in 1712. In the book of the 1724 Black Poems, Taj put in that book that this letter was pretty much like a precursor to the Black Poems. I only put a couple quotes out there. I have outlined a number of differences among the states, and I take these differences and make them bigger. I use fear, distrust, and envy for control purposes. The black slaves, after receiving this indoctrination, shall carry on and will become self-refueling and self-generating for hundreds of years, maybe thousands. It worked. It worked. Because you got light-skinned people thinking they look better than dark-skinned people. You got dark-skinned people feeling like they better than the light-skinned people because they're darker than they are. You got people that got muscles laughing at people because they're skinny. You got people that are skinny talking about people because they're fat. I talk about a lot of people. I most of the people. I made jokes. I'm probably one of the silliest dudes y'all will ever do. But the one thing that's more important is for me to help my people. It's for me to help my people. They did that, and they got stuck in us. And we can't even get along. Question? This thing right here that we're in is the largest unclaimed estate in the world. Meaning northwest, southwest of Mexico, central Mexico, and they joined the island. When they went to China, China fought back. When they went to those other nations, they fought back. When they came here, we welcomed them with open arms. And then we fought amongst each other. And as we fought amongst each other, and as we defeated each other, we became weak. And they did what naturally comes to anybody. They said, all right, let's step in and let's take over.
It's part of our common thing, too, for having created it in the first place. We had to pay that common debt.
I mean, they came here. This was the new world. You remember they were being persecuted for religious beliefs, or whatever type of beliefs they had. They came to put them to death. So they came here, and we welcomed them. They was dying from all types of stuff. Famine, from those whole potato famine in Ireland, that just happened. They did that. They did that. They fought against each other so much that they said, we got to go there. And then when they came here, they still landed once. If you get a chance, go to Google, pull up Christopher Columbus died. Christopher Columbus has died. It's long and it's extensive. You're not going to read it like that. But when you pull it up, just check it out. See what he said. They're smart, they're agile, they're muscular, they're this, they're that. But when you write down the pen, it's an ammunition. Take over. We taught them how to farm. We taught them how to build. We taught them how to watch. We taught them everything. And they came to we couldn't keep up our end for them, which was to stay on top and to get along with each other. We couldn't keep that, or we can't keep it up that. Everybody in the world talks about us. Every nationality that you see them, they stick together. If you go to a soccer match and you got Spain against England, you're going to see 1,000 Spanish flags over there. You're going to see 1,000 British flags over there. If you go to a boxing match and it's a Puerto Rican and a Mexican, you're going to see nothing but Puerto Ricans and nothing but Mexicans. When it comes to us, we ain't supporting each other. You know what? Disassociation. They got us Christian, they got us Muslim, they got us Hebrew Israelite, they got us Jew, they got us atheists, and they got some of us just plain old dumbasses.
So when did it come to the point where they started shipping us?
Shipping us where?
From Africa?
Anytime. Let me come over here. Anytime. She asked me, when was the process of them shipping us from Africa over here? Let me come over here closer to you. Do you know when they say the first slave ship arrived? 1619, Jamestown, Virginia. That was the first European colony. Jamestown, Virginia. Do you know how many slaves were said to be aboard these ships? When you look at their manifest, they say 1 to 200. Some people jumped, some people died, some people they killed. Do you know how long it took to go from the west coast of Africa to the Caribbean to this land? So 3 to 5 months. Now, 3 to 5 months, 1 to 200 people, 1618. Do you know when the slave trade was abolished? Mid 1800s. Early 1800s. Yeah, early 1800s. So, from 1619 to 1808, in order for them to have over 10 billion people from the west coast of Africa to the Caribbean and to this land, that means they would have had to have ships in constant rotation.
And still couldn't do it.
You follow me? I mean, they would have had to, now, they didn't have that type of technology. Columbus backed out when he got here. We rebuilt his ship. We rebuilt his ship. There was more than that they gave to them. So if it took 3 to 5 months, and they were only bringing 1 to 200 people at a time, in about 180 years, you can't get 10 million people that fast. So that tells you what?
We're already here.
Now, am I saying that some of us didn't come on ships? No. I wouldn't dare. I wouldn't dare. Because there wasn't people going on ships. It just was no great heavy numbers that they told. He was already here. That statue that I showed you of Olmec, the big stone head, they date back to 1500 BC. Some of them older. That's long before the slave ship. Now, if you question me and say, well, they could have just built that. They could have. But if the Indians were here, so they tell you now, that's the Yucatan Peninsula where that is. That's Mexico. That's around, not far from Cancun. If the so-called Native Americans were here, it's impossible that I came from Africa and I came over here and said, hey, how you doing? What's that about that? Your name is? All right, JW Bank. Y'all Indians, y'all real nice. Y'all been welcoming me. Y'all been treating me real good. Do you think I can make that much of an impression on JW Bay that when I leave, he gonna make a statue big as that looks like me and my brothers and my sisters and none that look like him? How come you ain't ever seen a statue of an Indian? Nowhere. Nowhere. Not even a figurine. When you look at those colossal statues, they got locks in their hair, braids in their hair, some of them got curls in their hair. What happened to the most figurine? So when it comes to them breaking skateboards, the first station died in 1619. We give them that. Now, I will tell you this one. My brother used to live there, not far from Jamestown. He's in Virginia. And I actually called him. And because I called the Jamestown Business Center, and I actually asked about, do y'all have an exhibit? Now, they was just flat out playing dumb, but they didn't know what the hell I was talking about. And now, if you look at the license plate, Virginia license plate, it say Jamestown 1619. Wow. 1620 is what they said. Look at the bottom. It's on it. Well, how can they know what I was saying?
It also confused the geography because it was a message and the same was also Africa also. So how you gonna be back with that in non-Africa?
That's how some people get twisted up. That's why I put what she said was this land is also Africa. We just in the West, Northwest Africa. It's no different as you figure. Right now we're in the northwest part of the city. We go to Franklin Mills, we're in the northeast part of the city. If we go downtown and we go across 76, and we go across the river, we not leaving Philly. We still in Philly, we just in another part. So a body of water doesn't necessarily separate land. If you follow me, it says there is intelligence size, sex, and status on the plantation. Remember earlier, I was talking about status, how important status is. Status was important on the plantation too, because if you, how many of y'all seen, what's that movie with Jamie Foxx? Come on, Django. Sam Jackson. Sam Jackson. His status went way above the rest of the state. So he was the man. In his mind, his status was correct. And everybody else, it was bottom feeders. Status is extremely important, even on a plantation. And status is extremely important right now. We try to wind this down, we've been in here for a while. Let's look at one more platform and see how it plays out in today's world. Article 7. The ceremonies and forms prescribed by the ordinance of the law and by the edict of 1691 for marriage shall be observed both in regard to free persons and slaves. For the consent of the father and the mother is not necessary. That of the master shall be the only one required. 1724, Article 7, platform. Corporate marriage license. This pertains to the state of Pennsylvania. You got to contact the court of orphans. Get the application. You must be 18. Anyone between the ages of 16 and 18 must be accompanied by a parent or a legal guardian, not lawful guardian, legal. I told you that. You must have a social security number, valid driver's license, visa for citizens of another country. Now, can anybody tell me why that's the same? Totally different in verbiage, but tell me why they're both the same. You got to get approval from who? Your master. Who's the master on the right? The corporation, Steve. Who's the master on the left? Sasquatch. 1724 today. That ain't no different. The verbiage is different. That's it. They told us church and state were separate. Why does he say the power vested in me by the Steve Love? He told you it was different. Let's take for a minute. Article 9, 1724 Latin. Children issued from the marriage of slaves shall follow the conditions of their parent, and shall belong to the master of the wife and not the husband, if the husband and wife have different masters. What are y'all seeing?
The recognition of the truth of the maker.
Recognition of the truth of the maker. Whatever your mother is, still think. Article 10, if the husband be a slave and the wife a free woman, it is our will that the children, of whatever sex they be, will share the condition of the mother and be as free as she, notwithstanding the servitude of their father. And if their father be free and the mother a slave, then the children shall all be slaves. Same thing? Article 12. We forbid slaves to carry offensive weapons, heavy sticks under the penalty of being whipped, and of having said weapons confiscated for the benefit of the person seizing the same. An exception is made in the favor of those slaves who are hunting or shooting for their masters, and who carry with them a written permission to that effect, or are being designated by some known mark of badge. Talk to me, somebody.
License. License.
1724, 2014, see that?
Yeah, what about today?
1724, 2014. Here we go.
Article 12. My man on the left is forbidden to carry that pistol. Hey man, what you know with that? Sasquatch on the right. He got his badge. He got his written permission slip. That's the commissioner of the Regency, Philly police. He got his permission slip. He got his badge. Is that any different than Article 12? No, same thing. Same thing. Whose codes are these again? Christian codes. Well, did the Christians give him a job? Same people. Same people, yo. negroes of any kind without the written permission of their masters, or without wearing their known marks or badges, any person purchasing anything from negroes in violation of this article shall be sentenced to pay 1,500 livres. Article 13. We forbid slaves belonging to different masters to gather in crowds either by day or by night, under the pretext of a wedding or any other cause, either at a dwelling or on the grounds of one of their masters or elsewhere, under the penalty of corporal punishment, which shall not be less than the whip. In the case of frequent offenses of the kind, the offender shall be branded with the mark on the flower of the noose. Capital punishment may be applied at the discretion of the judges or magistrates. Does this apply to today? That's also there we go. You all do Florence, right?
Yep, the Greek picnic. South Street.
Me and my cousin was on South Street one night, a little more than 10 years ago. How many of y'all know where the Regency is? No? Anybody know?
Big slice of pizza.
We standing outside Lorenzo's. Now, sometimes it's a huge crowd in Lorenzo's. They give you a slice of pizza like that big. So it's a huge crowd, right? So it's me and three of my cousins and my uncle, we standing outside. Now, it used to be this female cop that was on the beat on South Street. She's a cold-blooded bull. She was only this big. She walks up. She got two Sasquatches behind her. And she walks up to us and said, keep moving. So my uncle said, you waiting for a fool? She said, I don't give a damn what you waiting for. I said, keep moving. So I'm like, listen, we patrons in the store, we waiting for a fool. So she pokes her chest out like she can beat somebody. I said, keep moving, blah, 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 blah. So my cousin looked behind me, he's like, yo, so you know what they do? They back and laugh. They think it's funny. Now, without that badge, and without that pistol, and without whatever protection she had, y'all think she would tell us like, no? I'm not a woman beater. By no stretch of the imagination. But I'll break some dudes' jokes. Simply because I was trained to fight. What's she gonna do? But she got her badge, she got her arm, and her vicious thing. That's what we end up getting. We're not allowed to gather. And if we do gather, then they're gonna break us up. 1724 black rules. Y'all still gathering? That's what you're gonna get. You still gathering and you don't want to leave, that's what you're gonna get. I take it, put it up with police. Assault. You should see all the stuff they come. All the images, and people done took so many pictures and posted them. And y'all don't when you get arrested by them, when you get pulled over and you being arrested, and arrested means your motion has been stopped. And arrested don't mean that you got cuffs. Arrested means your motion has been stopped. Put them on blast. You got their name and their badge number, put them on blast. You put anything else on Facebook, you put anything else on Twitter, put them on Facebook. Put the picture up there. They public officials. So you can't be sued for putting them out there. They public officials. They already in public. That's the power of the news. New Orleans Saints. Flower of the news is the flower of the lily. It's French. That's the flower that the king used. That was the symbol that the king used. But the flower of the goose is the brand that they used to put on it. So you can walk around with that big old branding on your back. Now, that's New Orleans Saints. Anybody ever been to New Orleans? That flower of the goose is up on. Article 38, we also forbid our subjects in this colony, whatever their condition or rank may be, to apply on their own private authority the rack to their slaves under any precepts, whatever, and to mutilate said slaves in any one of their limbs or in any part of their bodies under the penalty of confiscation of said slave, and master so offended shall be liable to a criminal prosecution. We only permit masters when they shall think that the case requires it, to put their slaves in irons and have them whipped with rods or ropes. Does that apply to today? Somebody tell me out. not police brutality.
All civil rights.
Not that. It says right here, all subjects. With your birth certificate, you were subjects. And this colony, to take, regardless of their condition or rank, may apply any punishment, mutilation, or whatever to their slaves under the penalty of confiscation, right? Okay. Hanif is my cousin. But let's just say his mom didn't want him anymore. And I got him. But technically, he ain't mine. He's still property of the state, right? Because he got birth certificate. So if I become his legal guardian, and I beat their slave, and I beat their slave, and I beat their slave, what they gonna do? Under the penalty of confiscation. I'm trying to get y'all to see how these black folks are possible today. Under the penalty of confiscation. I'm trying to get y'all to see how these possible today. Read it. Well, when you read it, digest it, and understand it. That's the right. I'm glad they had that European right, because I didn't want to do nothing else today. But if any of y'all are going to the Black Rights Museum in Baltimore, they actually have a rack. They actually have a wax figure with a rack on it. The rack prevents you from bending over. The rack prevents you from sitting down. And the rack also has bells on top of it. So as you walk with the rack on, the bells will stay ringing so everybody can see that you've been rapped. And you would have to wear that for 2 to 3 days. How can you sleep comfortably with something that's shaped like a T wrap strapped to your back? And that goes down past your pelvic bone, too far for you to sit down. That's called the rack. That's the rack today. That's the rack today. If you beat your children, they're liable for confiscation. They wrote that in 1724, and then they put a couple more cute words on it, and then they reapplied it for today. 1724 Christian black vote extinct. Article 53. We commend all manumitted slaves. Anybody know what manumitted means? That means to be set free. We commend all manumitted slaves to show their profoundest respect to their former masters, to their widows and their children, and injury or insult offered by said manumitted slaves to their former masters, their widows or their children shall be punished with more severity than if it had been to any other person. We have declared them exempt from discharge of all duties or services and from payment of all taxes or fees or anything else in relation to their persons or to their personal or real estate, either during the life or after the death of said slave. I'll tell you how that pertains to today. We talk back. On the left, you have Roseville, Florida. Now, you don't remember the movie, you remember the story. Supposedly what happened is a brother raped a European woman. And then all hell broke loose. On the right, you have Tulsa, Oklahoma, where 19-year-old Dick Rowland supposedly had touched a European girl in the elevator. And then all hell broke loose because they said we disrespected our own masters. Now, these both were in the early 1900s. But it ain't no different today. They just ain't gonna outright come out and do that. But think about your job. Think about when you're walking around on the street. Europeans look at you like ain't high. They still think you're supposed to step off the curb when they walk by. It applies to today. They wrote it in 1724. Article 54, we grant manumitted slave the same rights, privileges, and immunities which are enjoyed by free persons. It is our pleasure that their merit in having acquired their freedom shall produce in their favor not only with regards to their persons, but also to their property, the same effects which our subjects derive from happy circumstances of having been born free. I done told y'all 1,000 times in this book. The rights of indigenous people. The rights of indigenous people say the same thing that Article 53 says. The rights of indigenous people say that if you are an indigenous person living in a corporate state, that the corporate state has to afford you all the same rights and privileges that they afford to their citizens. That's international law. That's not nothing, that's not for here, that's for everywhere. Who's the occupational government? Europeans. Who's the indigenous people? Us. So people say, if I declare my nationality, am I going to lose my job? No. International law says that they got to give you a job. Because you're here, you're in the occupation, you need to work, you need to eat. You need to get the fee out. So international law says that they have to afford you the same rights and privileges as they afford their citizens. 1724. The system. If you want to understand the system, you need to understand the black laws. You need to understand the church and the state is well planned out published. Know who the enemy is. The enemy on the left, their colors. Anybody know the correlation between them 6 nations and then the black? Let me show y'all. Yeah, that's true. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. England, Ireland, France, Scotland, Holland, Germany. In your face. The 13 stars represent 13 colors. In your face. I don't know what the red stripes represent. The red stripes might represent your blood.
And it's exactly the extra 7 seasons, 7 major continents to take over.
Generation after generation, people bearing the political catchword, labels of black, Negro, colored, Indian, West Indian, Puerto Rican, Hispanic, Latino, etc. spend futile efforts, time, life, and finance trying to solve the appearance of Negro prejudice and race problems in the United States of America. Black, Negro, colored, Latino, Hispanic, and other displaced people are not and can never be citizens of the United States. We already read that because they voted and are never viewed as such by union law. They are non-mutually, meaning you did not agree, governed by the state's laws of commerce and regulated by state property. If you don't know that you're dealt with in commerce, when you go into their tribunals that they call courtrooms, when you go into their so-called government agencies, when you go into all these buildings, look at the Star Spangled Banners that they got hanging up. And look at the gold tassels that surround them. That tells you that it's admiralty law, merchant law, commerce. The colonial states used force of arms and regulations to deny any sovereign activity among the defeated and enslaved indigenous Moors labeled black, Negro, colored, etc. They have little to no knowledge of what sovereignty is, and the agents among them certainly will not teach such subject matters. The same people we look up to have let us down for their own personal gain. It is now up to us to teach each other and to teach the children. So I'll put a couple pictures up here as we close it out. I want y'all to see who let you down.
Messy Jesse.
Messy Jesse. Cornel West. People say, oh, Cornel West is one of the most intelligent black men in the world. Where he teach at Princeton? Why he teaching y'all about your nationality? You think you know?
Because his teaching job is supposed to be position up and never lose his teaching.
Yeah, see? Reverend Al Sharp. His hair straighter than most of these females did. I know people don't like it, but Minister Louis Farrakhan. W.E.B. Du Bois, he one of the biggest sellouts you can come across in the planet. Elijah Muhammad, Elijah Kupe, and your boy, Barack Obama. Some on the research you go. King Alpha Plan, the Negro Act, the Buck Act, Treaty of Peace and Friendship, the Constitution of the United States of America, the organic Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, the Magna Carta, and various other treaties. Pull them down. Read the Constitution first. Read the Constitution first and understand it. Let it become a part of you. Let me know when y'all finish taking pictures. The ultimate goal for us as a nation, learn the truth about your national nationality, honor your mothers and fathers, and do your part to uplift all of humanity. Islam. Any questions? No questions?
I think the man-human wars means, does not mean free, it means transfer.
Okay. No questions? Many with the slaves, he said, does not mean free, means transfer. That's it. Islam.